So I was asked earlier today, what are the 3 things that I would tell somebody to get them to be able to change their life? And to be fair, while this is going to be a very, very quick and dirty explanation of this, there's a lot of varietals based on your natural personality. So here it goes. First and foremost, if you are actually desiring to change your life, you have to be willing to evaluate. So for some of you, evaluating your life looks like acknowledging that you've built a great life. You are with the family that you love, in the house that you love, in the environment that you love. And so the result of a sincere and honest evaluation of your life is just going to lead you to want more of that. So that's what I would encourage. At that point where you evaluate and realize that you've built a life that you do love, the job there is to just find the nuanced things that you want just that much more of. Now, for some of you, an evaluation of your life is going to result in you being honest enough to say, I do not like the life that I have. And for you, first of all, shout out to you, right? Because that takes a lot of courage for you to be able to do that. So good on you to be able to do it. And now what? Which leads me to my next point. If you determine that you are living in a version of your life that you don't actually love, the next step in this process is for you to cast a new vision. If you like it or don't like it, vision is the next part either way. If you love your life, you need to be able to find that one thing that you do want to have more of. The only way to do that is to cast a new vision for your life. What does it look like for you to have even better? If you don't love your life after the evaluation moment, then now it's about you being able to do something that is sometimes a little bit challenging. So here's my challenge to you. Get in touch with your inner child. Now I know all the Freudian and blah, 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 hocus pocus, I get it, right? But if you can get in touch with the version of you before somebody told you you couldn't do something, before somebody told you what you should be, how you should behave, what your job should be, then there's a truth there that is probably missing from your day-to-day life. There's some version of yourself that you overlooked in the name of practicality that it's time to bring back up to the top. So when you cast this vision, it's not just sitting with like a vision board. It's more about allowing yourself to dream big as humanly possible. So what does that require for you? Probably a change in environment, probably a change in your circle, probably cutting off the TV, probably getting into your most inspired setting so that you give yourself the necessary permission to dream as big as humanly possible. Now that you have sat with yourself to do the evaluation and come to, do I love it or not? Now you're moving into casting a vision for yourself, saying, what is the biggest, best, brightest version of my life? The third thing is aggressive choices. These are the 3 pillars. Evaluate, cast a vision, and then make aggressive choices. Now, when I went back and forth about how I was going to answer this, I landed on the word aggressive because sometimes it's easy to say, oh, I chose this. But are you taking action to go with that choice? Sometimes the choice can just live in your mind, right? So when I put the word aggressive with it, that gives you the impression that you need to take some sort of action. And this really all leads up to you just being able to create goals and live out the life of your greatest dreams. Because no matter what's happening in your world right now, and no matter what you think about the way that your day-to-day is going, you do in fact deserve to live a life that you absolutely love. What I want to talk about first is how lifestyle design came to me, because I didn't come to it, it came to me. Lifestyle design is the language that I discovered after reading the 4-Hour Work Week to describe what I knew had to be true. I knew that there was a way to live an uncommon and non-traditional life that felt better in my soul. I think that as somebody who was pre-prescribed the plan, go to school, get the degree, get the job, you're a Black woman that is attuned to science and math, so go be an engineer, make the most money, retire from that job. That was the story I was sold particularly in American culture. And my inner self rejected that story. And I didn't mean to reject that story, but I never felt quite right in that narrative. So I switched jobs for a minute, trying to find a way to do it, and nothing was settling down. So at some point, I think that what became super real for me was that I only had one life. And I mean, I can probably sum up that moment in a combination of near-death experiences. I'm not trying to get morbid about it, but this is real. It's something about having your mortality in question that makes you realize you don't have time to live somebody else's version of your life. So at that point, I feel like I got really in touch with making aggressive choices. Now, to be clear, I made a lot of really wrong aggressive choices in the wrong direction. And I'm saying wrong proverbially. I made a lot of aggressive choices in directions that ended up not being for me, but that's the work of experimentation in your life, right? And that is also how I have now these 3 pillars. Aggressive choices without knowing your vision just lead you on a path faster, and it's probably not going to be for your benefit. Not really evaluating whether or not you're happy with your life doesn't give you that moment of actual honesty. So all three of these things kind of come together. That's also why I prioritize lifestyle design first, coupled with then setting goals for your life. Those two things have to work together in order for your full picture of life to come into being. Like I think there was a season where I was setting a lot of goals back in college when I was setting goals to just achieve. I was competing with everybody. And it was like, all this dog-eat-dog kind of thing to get to the top of the dean's list so that you could get the best job offers. I had goals then, but I didn't have a vision for my life. And so without the vision, I ended up getting 5 job offers, working for 18 months and quitting. And all of that really boils down to this. If you are not willing to be brutally honest with yourself and the people around you that are probably giving instruction, because I know in my own life I had that. I was going against the grain of my entire family by saying, I'm going to quit the job where I came out of college making $65,000 US a year. I am going to not do the traditional family model. I'm not going to live in one place. And at every point, somebody was confused about those choices. But at the end of all of this, what matters most is that you, me, all of us are living in the most authentic versions of ourselves. That's who you were created to be. That's who you were designed to be. That's who I was designed to be. And my deep encouragement in all of this conversation, the brand, the company, whatever, is that you continue to iterate forward until you touch that most authentic version of yourself. And even when you touch it, evaluate, cast a vision for yourself, and also be willing to make those aggressive choices to live an even better version of that life. If this was impactful for you, you can go over to my website, theshaunak.com, where you can get more information about how to change your life.